Okay. So sorry about the fact I don't have a stand for my camera on my phone. But I wanted to go over the differences, the more subtle or seemingly subtle differences between the oldish style of Alice pack versus the newer-ish Alice packs. Um, First things first, Christ, these things have been manufactured for decades, and they were issued up until somewhat recently, I guess. So, between all of the different manufacturers, the different changes that might have happened, there is so much different between all of these different bags. And that's the biggest thing. But I'm using these two bags because they're the ones I have. And there is a lot that is different between them. So this one's newer to me. It's what I got like a couple days ago. It's the older style of Alice bag versus this one, which is my first Alice, which is almost like brand new out of box in terms of just how new it is. This one's been nice and loved, and this one is in the process of being loved. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was just these significant changes between the two that I don't feel like are talked about much at all. The first thing is straps. I've gone over this by myself trying to figure out how I'm going to talk about this, but the first thing is straps. Indeed, on this older Alice pack, this strap is long, very long. Not only is it long, I think it's made of cotton, it's very soft, very thick, kind of supple, and if I can find the frame, it's got a nice little weave to it. I don't know what this reinforcement was for, but it was there. And, with that length, that weave, that material, we have the new one. The weave is pretty different. I think this is made of nylon. It's very rough, and it's comparatively short. If I just yank on that all the way versus, obviously this one's not on a frame, but yeah. So that's the first thing. Now these straps still work, obviously. They'll cinch down perfectly no matter what size load you try to stuff in here. But I think it'll sort of, if you try to hide something underneath your flap, like a bedroll or whatever, you're not going to have that much slack to play with. It does help though, because with the length of these straps, it's hard, even if you try to like cinch it down and then run it through this, it's hard to keep them from swaying and slapping about, which annoys me to no end, but I love that about this pack. The second thing, and this thing is, something I didn't notice until, well, I was aware of it before I bought either of these packs, but I didn't really have the time to appreciate it until now. But the lids are different. And not just that this one's more rectangular, but this lid is it's a little bit taller, and, it's not as wide, but with these stitches to, make so the lid cups over the bag, these ones are more significantly stitched to really make a nice like cup, whereas this one is it's comparatively flat, but it still has it that you can sort of flap it down and it'll cup the top of your bag. It's also, if I can try to make it nice, see how much sort of space there is between like the edge of the flap and the stitching that connects it? Yeah, there's not that much in comparison on the older flap. That said, the stitching to connect said flap is very thin. I think they realized, which is what I realized, is you don't need that much stitching to keep the flap on. It's not that much of a part that's gonna like be pulled on, but we can see here the stitching they used on the older style. It's, that's doubled up both top and bottom. So it's 2 stitches at the top, 2 stitches at the bottom. It's already like 2 stitches. So you're not gonna, sorry about that, I accidentally pressed a button. You're not gonna worry too much about this coming off. It's just a lid, but like still, you won't have to worry your darn little mind. Oh, I don't know why I'm like fucking struggling to breathe also. Forgive me. Carrying on after that, this is not something I can really show on this one because I've got it all framed up, but the D-rings. The D-rings that would help it if you wanted to wear this without the frame. On the newer LC-1, we can see it's just this single, thick, extremely reinforced, but single strip of stitching. Compare that to the massive double X plus the bars, I'll call them on the side, to this older Alice pack. You can probably carry a hefty weight with this bad boy without a frame. Like, that is like some serious stitching. And the same can be said sort of along the back of this. Like, every single stitch you see back here is a double stitch, or possibly a triple stitch, except for this one. Like, any part that is going to be pulled on, yanked on, anything like that, it's all like double stitch. Versus, it's kind of weird, there is some overlap. And I do believe a lot of this double stitching has to do with the fact that, yeah, probably, forgive me for this. Yeah, here we go. We have the cinch strap, which I love the fact that the Alice strap just goes all the way around the bag. But the padding, as well as the cinch strap, I think they might share a stitch, which will, you know, lead them to being so rough and ready and rugged. Whereas you can see the very clear separation between the padding stitch versus the strap stitch, and they're all single stitches. Almost all of these are single stitches, except for some, you know, double stitching up here. Next to that, the padding itself. The padding for this, you know, it's robust, it's nice, but it's slightly too small for the, I'm just going to call it the sock that sits, you know, within. I can move this padding up, really push it up, and I have a lot of free play room here. You know, in spite of its thickness, it kind of can just drop down and just give me nice, comfortable aluminum bar. Versus, and this is a 1982 pattern Canadian Armed Forces rucksack carrier system that I've just sort of modified to allow me to, you know, wear this without the, I only have the one pair. The guy I sold it only had the one pair. But comparatively, it's still a single stitch, but like, it is tight in there, in the thing I've so affectionately called the sock, which is the most incorrect term for it. But like, gosh, it's not moving. You put this on your freaking frame, it's not moving. You're gonna get a bunch of pad right there. It's not gonna be that comfortable, but it's a goddamn robust bit of padding. Well, that's kind of like the summary of the top of the bag. Next is the webbing that surrounds the two. Obviously we can see it's pretty similar style of nylon webbing. The stitches are all similar. These are single stitches, whereas these are doubled up. Almost all of these are doubled up versus these, which aren't doubled up everywhere. Anywhere that it's relevant, they're not. Because, like, this is just holding the webbing in place. This isn't trying to, like, bear loads. Versus these extremely robust stitches that will, you know, that'll hold a load. But, you know, you get a fair double stitch. It goes all the way around. And you can see the hangers for the old style since like World War I hanger hook type beats. These two pairs, four, are the only ones you get. You know, I think at this point they're just like, the machete is the last thing that will hang off of these, so, you know, that's all you need. Versus these grommets go all the way around this top strap. You know, space for the two straps, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then guess what? They keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4 more. So if you have something like those old World War II style water bottles, World War II to the 50s or whatever, you can hang them off there. Don't know if you'd want to do that since like Alice is a bit better. Don't mind this. I completely fucked up the reinforcement concept. I just zip tied it. I wouldn't even need these Alice clips, but you know, we won't look at that. But yeah, like, there is no more grommets. They're still kind of haphazardly just sewn in, willy-nilly. I tried to hang, what was it? The dressing pouch from like a World War II dressing pouch. It, you know, it didn't really fit. But yeah, so that's just the webbing. What's next? The pockets themselves. Yeah, this might be hard to demonstrate, but the pockets themselves on the newer one, slightly, significantly bigger. So I've got a poncho in here. Oh, I set the light off. It's actually a nice place for the light. It's better than this because this could get covered. So if it just hangs off of the flap, it's always facing outward. Won't get into that. But let me just stick my hand in there. Plenty of room. Look at all that. My entire hand plus the rain poncho. And there's probably a little bit more to go around. Sorry about the noise. So, no, that's that pocket. I'm told that they increased the size of these pockets for the radio pouch, but that's usually on the radio pouch version of that. I don't know. I think they just, you know, increase the size of these across the whole board, because why not? But in comparison, I'm going to set the phone down. But as I put this in, I believe in some way, some strange way. Yeah, okay. I'll just stuff that in there. It's still kind of poking out. You know, we got some space that could have been better used, but I kind of have to... I can still get my hand in there, but it's a bit cozy. It's really kind of quite tight in there. And if you look at them just sort of side by side, it's not a perfect sort of comparison. But tell me that there doesn't seem to be a slightly larger sensation permeating out of the later Alice pack. Just slightly larger. It'll still fit. But, you know, you might be able to carry just that bit more with the good old camouflaged one, the woodland. I'm going to pull this out again. Bring me on to my next point. In spite of the fact that this pocket is smaller, see this reinforced looking bottom? Yeah, well, that's actually just a single layer. I've tried to pull it apart, you know, as one does with two layers. You know, you pinch one side and you pinch the other. That's just a single layer, and it's just reinforced by this tiny little bad boy of a stitch, which, you know, it's still a robust pocket. You can put stuff in there. But if you try to make it so that it's bursting at the seams, it's probably going to burst at those seams. And that's probably not going to happen. You know, they decided to just skimp on stitching there. It'll probably be fine. You hope. But with this, you know, that's a very sort of sad looking, sandpapery looking color on the bottom there. If I show you the inside, look at that. That's not sandpapery sad. Yeah, that's actually a proper double bottom. That's reinforced, you know. You know, wouldn't have to worry about something like puncturing it as much, I suppose. It's still only like one stitch, but just know that like this greener part of the bag actually does carry on all the way down. This is just an outer piece that just adds to that protection. Who knows though? You know, I haven't actually checked these other pockets. Maybe it's because it fucking failed. Nope, yep, that's a double pocket. Yep, so it's a double bottom on all of them. Very robust in that way. Last thing about the pockets are the lids of them. I think, I'm not too sure, but, you know, they've got the same sort of rough nylon strap. But these lids are ever so slightly bigger, you know, to accommodate for a bigger pocket. It's mainly this triangle that I want to look at. Versus, it's hard to see, but it sure seems like, you know, bigger lid for a bigger pocket. That makes sense. Final thing I noticed with this, oh geez, look at that. It's coming apart. That's what I initially thought, but I took a good hard look at this whole sort of a keeper assembly. We got the double cross box stitch thing going on. We got the super line, that I'm just going to call it that, and then we got another double cross box stitch. It was apparently at some point stitched up a little bit longer. I'd say that's about an inch to the rest of the bag, but you've got this double box stitch plus this whole line connecting you to the rest of the bag, plus not to mention the fact that the entire strap is still stitched to the rest of the bag all the way up until you get to the flaps. When I thought I was going to have to repair that, I was like, God, that's thick as hell. That's going to be tough. When I saw this, I realized that, no worries. That's going to stay fine. Let's compare to this bad boy. Ta-da-da-da. That's all you get. This big, you know, happily robust bit of thick. That's like, goodness me, several odd layers of repeated stitching in one spot. But that's all you get. You know, you still get the two lines that go all the way around the whole bag, but, you know, I think they realized that's all you need. Honestly, that is kind of all you need. It's not too bad. Cinching it down. Admittedly, I'm not Army. I've never carried 80 plus pounds of equipment in either of these. I go home to college and come back to home. Regardless, I go back and forth to my college and to my home carrying like maybe 20 pounds or less. I stuff these full, or stuff that one full. This one's, you know, predates college, but I stuff that one full, and, you know, it'll carry stuff, but, you know, I'm not carrying insane weights. Regardless, I think these are just some things to be aware of. Not that it's bad or good, because this is like so good quality. You've seen Alice packs. You specifically have seen Alice packs in this style that have been through the ringer and back, and they're still doing fine. But, yeah, no, I just, you know, it's new to me. I worry about it. Poor girl. She might get hurt. Whereas, you know, basically what I'm trying to say is, I feel like, you know, in spite of this one's age and use, it is still so insanely robust and reliable. I've done a few tiny repairs here and there, but beyond that, they were probably unnecessary. Like, you know, the fact that this one has the D-rings on the inside with the strings to shrink it. I actually don't like that. I'm glad they got rid of it with this, because shrinking this into an assault pack, it's gross, it's weird, it's nasty, like, it's completely uncomfortable. At least I think. It seems to just weaken the points where the strings are, and just, you're not gonna, ruins it all. Sorry, I clicked the button again. But yeah. Shrug, I shrug my shoulders, I say, heh. I shrug my shoulders and say, heh. Like, fuck. Just, I don't know. They're both fine bags. And that's the main thing. I'm still sort of analyzing the differences, so this isn't comprehensive. There's probably a lot more differences that I'm not even aware of. There's stuff I wish I could know about, like whether or not these are actually cotton straps versus these. Like, I want to know. I so deeply desire the knowledge of the significance of every decision with these bags, from every single stitch. Like, why did you decrease the reinforcement here? Like, you know, what, oh, actually, since I just lost that train of thought, I'm going to carry on with this. I think the radio pouch for the older Alice pack is a lot smaller than the newer one. This is all completely just sort of my brain talking, and no serious piece of history or, you know, information from someone who would know. But something about this one's radio pouch feels so small, so tiny. There it is, right at the bottom there. Lift you up with your frame. You kind of go, oh shoot, I'm in the wrong hole. You stop right above the frame. Well, that's the wind. You stop right above the frame, but... Yeah, no, I guess that's just me info dumping. Just take with that information what you will, and have a nice day.